How ego, deception, and power always lead to their ultimate collapse. In a moment of breathtaking clarity, when the sun's rays cut through the morning fog and our hearts stirred with echoes of ancient wisdom, I found myself standing on the precipice of transformation. I invite you to join me on this unparalleled journey where we confront the illusions of ego, the cunning of deception, and the ephemeral nature of power. And in doing so, we uncover the timeless truth that every towering force built on these foundations is destined for collapse. We begin this voyage with a deep dive into the very essence of human ambition and fragility, realizing that true strength comes not from dominion over others, but from mastery over oneself. I recall a time when I, much like you, was entangled in the snare of pride, believing that my achievements, my influence, and my position in life would grant me everlasting significance. Yet life, in its inexorable wisdom, soon revealed that the ego is a fragile construct, easily shattered by the relentless storms of reality. We all have witnessed the rise of individuals who, intoxicated by their own prowess, equate power with ultimate reward, a coveted treasure that seems to promise invincibility against life's unpredictability. But as I speak to you now, I urge you to consider the wisdom of the Stoics, who taught that every pursuit rooted in ego is like constructing a castle on sand. This is not merely an abstract philosophy, it is a practical guide for living a life of integrity, humility, and resilience. Imagine, if you will, a great empire that once thrived on the lavish display of wealth and might, only to crumble when the very pillars of deceit and arrogance gave way under the weight of their own hubris. Have you ever wondered why, despite our best efforts to control the uncontrollable, the structures we build in our lives often collapse? The answer lies in the eternal truth that we are all subject to the natural order, a force that respects no human decree and that ultimately humbles even the mightiest of ambitions. I remember a time when I set out on a quest to conquer my inner demons. Driven by an insatiable desire to prove myself to a world that seemed to demand more than I had to offer, I embarked on what I now refer to as modern-day trials, reminiscent of the legendary challenges faced by Stoic heroes of old. In those moments of solitude and introspection, I discovered that our inner world is the true battleground where power is contested. The deceptive allure of external validation, the seductive whispers of false promises, and the mirage of absolute authority are but fleeting illusions distracting us from the fundamental truth. The only lasting victory lies in the conquest of our own minds. I often ask myself, and I ask you as well, what is the value of power if it is built on shaky foundations of ego and deceit? As we delve deeper into this exploration, let us peel back the layers of our pretensions and confront the vulnerability at the heart of our ambitions. When we think of deception, many envision intricate plots and elaborate schemes orchestrated by cunning adversaries. But in reality, deception is not solely an external force. It is something we nurture within ourselves when we allow our egos to swell and our judgments to be clouded by self-interest. I have seen firsthand the devastating impact of deceit, both in personal relationships and in the corridors of power. It acts as a toxin that corrodes trust and sows seeds of isolation, ultimately undermining the very fabric of our communities and our inner peace. You might ask, why do we persist in this cycle of self-deception? The answer is as ancient as time itself. We crave the affirmation that comes from external sources. And in doing so, we betray the wisdom that tells us our true worth comes from within. Stoicism teaches us to be self-reliant, to find contentment in the natural order of life, and to understand that the only person we should seek to impress is our higher self. In this journey, I have come to understand that power, when wielded without humility, is a double-edged sword. It can elevate us to magnificent heights, yet it can also blind us to the inherent fragility of our existence. We are seduced by the notion that power is a means to an end, a tool for achieving our desires and imposing our will on the world. However, as history and personal experience have shown, power anchored in ego and deception is doomed to collapse. It is reminiscent of a towering monument built with unstable bricks, destined to fall when the winds of change blow fiercely. I invite you to ask yourself, is it worth pursuing a power that isolates you from your true essence, disconnecting you from community and nature? The Stoic path invites us to reframe our understanding of power, to see it not as a means of domination, but as a responsibility to act with wisdom, justice, and compassion. I recall a transformative day when, amidst a throng of people intoxicated by the allure of authority, I felt a stirring deep within my soul, a call to return to simplicity, to embrace the humble truths that are the bedrock of Stoic philosophy. I looked into the eyes of those around me and wondered if they, too, felt the crushing weight of their own ambitions and the emptiness that follows when the glitter of power fades. In that charged moment, it became clear that the pursuit of ego-driven power often leads us astray, trapping us in an endless cycle of desire and disappointment. I challenged myself to step away from the seductive lure of control and instead listen to the quiet, unwavering voice of inner wisdom. As you listen to these words, I hope you too can hear that voice, a reminder that true power is found in self-mastery and the courage to face life's challenges without losing sight of what truly matters. Our journey is not without its trials. There have been moments when I, like you, have been tempted to yield to the intoxicating allure of power and succumb to the promise of quick success at any cost. I have faced situations where the line between ambition and hubris blurred, leaving me to wonder whether the ends ever justify the means. Yet it is precisely in those moments of uncertainty that Stoic wisdom shines the brightest. The Stoics remind us that our character is defined not by our victories alone, but by the grace with which we handle defeat. I have learned that true resilience is born from the courage to acknowledge our weaknesses and embrace the inherent impermanence of all things. When we let go of the need to control every outcome and accept life as a series of ebbs and flows, we free ourselves to pursue genuine growth and understanding. I invite you to reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever felt the sting of failure after chasing power with reckless abandon? What lessons did that pain impart? Often, it is from these very moments of collapse that our greatest breakthroughs emerge. The interplay between ego, deception, and power is a complex tapestry woven throughout human history. In ancient Rome, the fall of mighty emperors was often precipitated by their own arrogance and inability to see beyond the facade of their authority. Today, we observe the same patterns unfolding in boardrooms, governments, and even in personal relationships. I stand before you as a living testament to the enduring wisdom of Stoic philosophy, a philosophy that teaches us to live in harmony with nature and to seek inner peace amidst the turmoil of a rapidly changing world. The cautionary tales of those who have fallen from grace serve as powerful reminders to remain vigilant against the corrupting influence of ego and the insidious lure of power. As you consider these narratives, ask yourself, what does it mean to wield power responsibly? And how can we ensure our actions are guided by virtue rather than vanity? This exploration is not merely an academic exercise, it is a call to action. Every day, we face choices that either draw us toward the seductive traps of false power or inspire us to cultivate inner strength and purpose. In the echoes of ancient teachings, we learn that the path to true greatness is paved with self-discipline, empathy, and an unwavering commitment to justice. I have embarked on countless endeavors, both personal and professional, that tested my resolve and challenged my perceptions of success. With each endeavor, I discovered that the true measure of a person lies not in their ability to dominate, but in their capacity to uplift others, to act with compassion, and to remain steadfast in the pursuit of wisdom. I encourage you to choose a different kind of power, a power rooted in humility and guided by the enduring principles of Stoic philosophy. Question the status quo, challenge the narratives that glorify ego-driven ambition, and seek the quiet strength that comes from living in accordance with nature's law. As we progress on this journey, every step is accompanied by moments of revelation, instances where the veil of illusion is lifted, revealing the raw, unfiltered truth beneath. I recall standing in a quiet, secluded place far from the clamor of the modern world, feeling an overwhelming sense of clarity wash over me. In that stillness, I realized that the greatest deception we face is not inflicted by others, but nurtured within ourselves. Our egos trick us into believing we are separate from the universe, that our ambitions hold paramount importance. Yet, the wisdom of Stoicism teaches us that we are fleeting moments in the vast tapestry of existence, and that true power lies in surrendering to the natural order. Have you ever paused to consider the irony that the very qualities we admire, ambition, strength, determination, can, when misdirected, lead us down a path of self-destruction? Embracing the humbling truth that our lives are transient opens the door to lasting fulfillment through humility and self-awareness. It is in the crucible of adversity that we often unearth our most profound insights. Faced with setbacks and disappointments, we can either allow our egos to crumble or rise above the fray. Finding solace in the enduring principles of Stoicism, I have encountered moments of utter despair when the weight of my own ambitions threatened to overwhelm me. In those dark hours, I turned to the timeless teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, whose words shone like beacons of light amid turmoil. Their wisdom reminded me that the external world is beyond our control and that our true strength is found in how we respond to life's inevitable challenges. As I share these reflections with you, I am ever mindful of the transformative power of resilience, the capacity to rebuild, learn from failure, and emerge stronger than before. This, truly, is the essence of Stoicism, embracing life's impermanence and finding beauty even in struggle. In our modern era, we are bombarded with messages equating success with power, celebrating the triumph of ego over empathy and rewarding the fleeting allure of superficial achievements. Yet I stand before you today, both as a witness and a participant in this transformative journey of self-discovery, to remind you that the pursuit of power for its own sake is an empty endeavor. True success is not measured by the accolades we accumulate, but by the character we build along the way. When we strip away the trappings of ego and deception, we find that life is a series of moments, each one offering an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to contribute to the greater good. I challenge you to reconsider your own definition of success. What legacy do you wish to leave behind? Is it one built on the fragile constructs of power and deceit? Or one that reflects the timeless virtues of wisdom, courage, and compassion? Every encounter we have, every decision we make, offers an opportunity to live with purpose and authenticity. I have witnessed the collapse of empires built on the vanity of unchecked ambition and learned that true power is a quiet force emanating from within. As you reflect on these truths, consider that your greatest strength may lie not in your ability to dominate, but in your capacity to inspire and uplift others. There is undeniable beauty in a life guided by Stoic principles, a life in which every challenge is met with grace. Every setback becomes a stepping stone, and every moment is an invitation to nurture inner peace. I invite you to join me in embracing this path, to reject the corrosive allure of ego and deception, and to commit to a journey of continuous self-improvement and genuine connection. I have often wondered if we are complicit in a grand illusion, that power is synonymous with worth. When we allow our egos to dictate our actions, we entangle ourselves in a web of lies that inevitably lead to our downfall. In those moments when the facade of authority begins to crumble, we must confront the harsh reality that the quest for power, pursued without humility, is self-defeating. Reflect on the times when you may have been seduced by the promise of control and influence. How many times did you sacrifice your true values for fleeting recognition? The Stoic path teaches that the only power that endures is the power of virtue, the strength that arises from aligning our actions with our highest ideals, irrespective of external circumstances. At one unforgettable moment in my life, I found myself confronted with the ruins of what was once a magnificent structure, a symbol of power and pride that had crumbled under the weight of its own ambition. Walking among its remnants, I was struck by the profound irony that the very qualities we celebrate as signs of strength, dominance, ambition, and a relentless pursuit of control, were exactly what led to its inevitable downfall. Standing there in the silence of collapse, I experienced a deep humility and a stirring desire to embrace a different path, one that honored the lessons of the past and sought to build a future on the solid foundations of wisdom and integrity. I remember asking myself, what is the true value of power if it blinds us to the beauty of impermanence? It was in that moment of introspection that I began to see power not as an end in itself, but as a tool to be wielded with care, respect, and an acute awareness of our shared humanity. This realization was further deepened by the stirring narratives of ancient Stoics whose lives and writings echo truths that remain relevant even today. I immersed myself in the meditations of Marcus Aurelius, whose reflections expose the fragility of human pride, and in the letters of Seneca, which implore us to live with clarity and purpose. Their words, echoing across centuries, remind us that the ego is a master illusion, one that can lead to our downfall if we let it run unchecked. I invite you, as you listen to my story, to reflect on these timeless teachings and consider how they might apply in your own life. How often have you allowed the desire for recognition and control to cloud your judgment and steer you away from the path of inner peace? This is a question I have wrestled with throughout my life, and it is one I believe we must all confront if we are to transcend the transient allure of false power. There were periods when the seduction of power felt almost irresistible, a siren song promising glory and fulfillment, yet ultimately leaving me empty and disillusioned. I recall a time when I was driven by an overwhelming need to prove myself, to assert dominance in a world that seemed to demand validation at every turn. Yet, with each step forward, I noticed that every victory was shadowed by growing isolation and a widening chasm between my public persona and my inner self. It became painfully clear that the pursuit of power, when untethered from wisdom, is a perilous path leading only to internal discord. I learned that true fulfillment arises not from external accolades but from the steady cultivation of inner strength, a strength nurtured by self-discipline, honest reflection, and the bravery to confront our own imperfections. As I studied the countless stories of individuals who reached the pinnacles of success only to later find themselves trapped by their own inflated egos, I was struck by a recurring pattern. The higher one climbs on the ladder of power, the more precarious the position becomes. This observation serves as a sobering reminder that the very qualities we admire, ambition, determination, and resilience, must be balanced by humility and an unwavering commitment to truth. I urge you to consider the possibility that our true strength lies not in our ability to impose our will on others, but in our capacity to understand and embrace life's impermanence. The journey toward self-mastery is fraught with obstacles, and setbacks often accompany our best intentions. I have encountered moments when the weight of my ambitions felt unbearable, and the temptations of ego and the lure of quick success threatened to derail my progress. Yet it is precisely in these moments of vulnerability that the wisdom of Stoicism reveals its light. By embracing our failures as opportunities to learn and grow, we transform even the darkest experiences into stepping stones toward enlightenment. I ask you, have you ever experienced a moment when everything seemed lost, only to discover a new strength emerging from the ruins? It is these experiences, however painful, that shape us into individuals capable of genuine transformation. The interplay between ego, deception, and power is not confined to personal narratives. It is a recurring theme woven throughout the fabric of history. Empires have risen and fallen, not merely because their leaders lacked ambition, but because their ambitions were misdirected, turned inward instead of outward toward the common good. As I stand here sharing my journey, I am reminded that the cautionary tales of the past serve as lessons for our future. They compel us to reconsider what it means to wield power responsibly and to ensure that our actions are rooted in virtue rather than vanity. I want to share with you a vision of a world where the collapse of ego, deception, and power paves the way for a renaissance of authenticity and unity, a society where our individual quests for success are harmonized with the common good. Picture a community where the enduring values of Stoic philosophy, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance serve as the guiding principles in every decision and interaction. Though this future might seem distant amid modern challenges, it is within our grasp if we dare to learn from the past and reimagine what true power might be. I encourage you, as you reflect on these words, to hold tightly to that vision and let it inspire your actions today. What steps can you take to build a legacy rooted in integrity and compassion? How might you contribute to a world that values the enduring strength of inner wisdom over the fleeting allure of ego? Each step of our journey brings with it moments of revelation, times when the accumulated weight of our experiences reaches a tipping point, and the illusions we have cherished begin to crumble. I recall an early morning when, standing alone as dawn broke over a vast landscape, I felt nature's gentle reminder that creation and collapse are inseparable. In that quiet, sacred moment, I asked myself, what if instead of chasing the fleeting shadows of power, we redirected our energy toward nurturing the seeds of genuine change? That question resonated deeply within me, suggesting that true transformation arises not from clinging to outdated notions of control but from embracing the natural cycles of life. In sharing this vision, I am inspired by countless individuals who have defied the status quo and dared to challenge conventional wisdom. Whether ancient philosophers, modern activists, or everyday heroes, these trailblazers understood that true greatness lies in the courage to stand apart from the crowd and to forge a new path, one that honors the inherent dignity of every human soul. Their stories shine as beacons of hope in a world too often dominated by superficial displays of power. I ask you, are you ready to join this movement? Are you willing to confront the seductive pull of ego and deception, and to embrace a life defined by genuine purpose and unyielding resilience? In the spirit of openness, I share with you that my path has been one of continuous learning and growth, a journey marked by both triumphs and painful setbacks. Moments of brilliant insight and prolonged introspection. Through every high and low, I have come to understand that the collapse of ego, deception, and power is not something to be feared but a natural, even necessary, part of life, a process that clears the way for renewal and reinvention. Each time I witnessed a grand illusion fall apart, I was given the opportunity to rebuild my life on more enduring, authentic principles. This cyclical process of collapse and rebirth lies at the very heart of Stoic philosophy. A philosophy that encourages us to embrace the impermanence of all things and to find beauty even in the midst of struggle. As I reflect on everything we have journeyed through together in this script, I am reminded that life is not static but a dynamic process, a continuous interplay between creation and destruction, between the rise of grand illusions and the inevitable collapse that paves the way for rebirth. I stand here, humbled by the vast expanse of knowledge passed down through the ages. Deeply grateful for the opportunity to share these insights with you. It is my sincere hope that as you internalize these teachings, you will understand that every moment of collapse, every shattering of pride, is an invitation to rebuild with a wiser, more compassionate heart, embracing the Stoic ideals of self-control, resilience, and acceptance of life's impermanence empowers us to transcend superficial pursuits of ego and deception, and instead cultivate a legacy built on authenticity, empathy, and unwavering truth. Remember, you are not alone in this quest. Together, we can challenge the prevailing narratives of power and dominance, replacing them with a shared vision of a future where every individual is valued not for the titles they hold or the influence they wield, but for the depth of their character and the sincerity of their spirit. As we move forward into an era defined not by fleeting illusions of control but by the enduring strength of collective wisdom, I invite you to join me in a movement of profound transformation, a movement that celebrates every collapse as a catalyst for renewal and every moment as an opportunity to rediscover the beauty of a life lived with purpose, compassion, and unwavering integrity. In this shared commitment, we discover that the collapse of ego, deception, and power is not a defeat but a call to rise, to awaken to the boundless possibilities of a life lived in harmony with the enduring truths of Stoic philosophy. Let our journey together be a testament to the power of vulnerability, the courage to face our deepest fears, and the potential within each of us to create a legacy of true greatness. As you step forward into this new chapter, carry with you the understanding that the collapse of false power is a natural, even essential, process that ultimately leads us to the profound realization that the only lasting power is the strength of a well-cultivated spirit. I thank you for walking this path with me, and I invite you to continue exploring the depths of your own soul, where the seeds of genuine power and true resilience lie waiting to be awakened. Ask yourself, what legacy will you leave behind? Will it be one built on the transient glories of ego and deception, or one that stands as a shining example of humility, wisdom, and inner peace? As we conclude this exploration, I leave you with one final thought. Every collapse is not an end but a beginning, a chance to rise, rebuild, and embrace a future defined by authenticity and the timeless values of Stoicism. Let us rise together, transforming our lives and the world around us by honoring the eternal truth that true power comes from within.